PSGL is back for round 2 of season 40. After last week's incident and subsequent DNF, we're still sitting pointless in the driver's standings. This week, we're racing around the streets of Jeddah. Do I have what it takes to bring home a good result? Let's find out.
Into qualifying, I knew this track would be a hard one to nail. In practice, I've done a couple of 1 minute 26.2s and invalidated a 0.1 and a 0.0, but never managed to fully put it together. The corners in Jeddah all require you to be 100% committed on throttle, on turn in, and on the braking as well, being at the absolute limit of grip the entire time. And when I asked faster drivers about whether they had tips for nailing a lap around Jeddah, their answers were aim for the wall. And even then, in the first sector, our lack of commitment already showing. By avoiding the outside curb, this forces my line through the next sequence of corners to be much tighter and compromises our exit. And don't mind the purple sector because usually that is not going to be accurate. Same thing for this blind left-hander. Absolute commitment is required here. Beautiful, not too bad, but a little safe. Same thing for this last corner. You have to absolutely have confidence in the car. Flicking it in, but missing the apex massively. Luckily, we still have 2 more shots, 2 more opportunities. Can we seize it? And so far, we've matched our previous lap. But through the S's, this is where the track evolution and the newly found commitment into the corners will allow us to gain close to 2 tenths in just 2 corners alone. To the blind left, gaining again. Beautiful. This is all we need to keep gaining a little bit every single corner. Now we'll keep it tight to the left to reduce driving distance up to the last corner. How do we take it this time? Beautiful. A little under the limit, but we hit the apex this time. And up to the line, 3 tenths of improvement. And that is going to allow us to move up to P5 provisionally. It's crazy the rate at which skill gap is rapidly increasing in PSGL. Just last year, I was comfortably going for pole every session in PSGL and F7. And this year, holy smokes, as we cross the finish line, we're already down to P7. And I reckon there's still going to be a lot of people that are going to improve. So we have to peak this lap and make something happen. And more than a few drivers have found the wall in trying to find the limit. Unfortunately for us, a bad sector 1 followed by a bad sector 2 and 3 means we will not be improving on this lap. And as everybody crossed the start-finish line one last time in this qualifying session, we have been pushed down to P12. That is crazy to me. Into the race we go. We are going to be starting P12 on the mediums as well, because we are going to attempt a pretty crazy strategy in the race. Off the line, it's not too bad. We managed to jump the McLaren, but I have to leave some room because the Williams stuck his nose down the inside, and I don't know what the fuck that was, but that has caused us to lose the position we gained off the line, and then another one on the exit of turn 1. Well, I'm gonna have to let the Alpine go here because I don't want to lose my front wing not on the first lap of the race, because usually that would mean race over.
What was that fucking send, man? Who was that William?
And it's going to take a couple of laps before everybody can settle in into their pace and find a rhythm. There's a hard runner behind us, and currently the mediums are a lot faster than the hards. And right away, I could see that the Alpine is struggling quite a bit on a lot of these corners. And he's being very, very aggressive with his battery usage, going wide into the 3rd sector as well. And I make a mental note of where he makes the most mistakes. There, he taps the wall again, so I can use this to my advantage.
It's so damn loud.
Further down the line. And on lap 4, this is where we go on the attack. Seeing that he's already flashing, even in the DRS train, we go for the move down the inside, draining almost all of our battery in order to make the move. And all that just for P12, getting back to where we were. And I suspect the Alpine is running slightly higher wings than we are, and he still has to recharge here. He's kind of left for dead, because once you're running low on battery at Jeddah, you're gonna get swallowed up by the pack. And at this point, on lap 7, the hards are slowly starting to come alive. They are getting better and better than our mediums. And right there, I get my first track limit warning of the session. We have to be careful because 3 warnings means a 3-second penalty. And right here, Tom is being very, very aggressive with his battery usage, going for a huge send, getting the car slowed down actually. It kind of caught me off guard because I expected him to go deep so I could make switch back him on the exit. And on the exit, I'm fighting really, really hard here, draining all of my battery. And we have more top speed than him, but medium tires are just not as performant as the hards anymore. And he goes for the switchback, and there's just nothing I can do here. I can only let him go. And I shouldn't fight him too hard because I kind of want to keep my battery full because our pit window is about to open right now. With the dirty air this year and the slipstreaming effect that's not as powerful as I would have wished, there's just not real opportunities for overtaking on this track. So we decide to go for something crazy here. On lap 9, we decide to dive into the box and put on fresh hards, and we're gonna have to do 16 laps on the hards. Last year, maybe it would have not have been a big deal, but this year, the tire wear is absolutely brutal. If you're not careful, you can get about 6 or 7% every single lap. And right away, we're gonna push as hard as we can because this outlap is absolutely critical for the undercut strategy that we are going to attempt. And right there, a Ferrari in the wall, and that is another free position for us. Currently, we're sitting in P10, but with the hard runner still on track, I believe we are currently sitting in a net P7. By pitting a lap early, we managed to undercut 5 people on track. That is absolutely mental. It just goes to show the tire delta in this game is crazy. And now I have to recharge my battery a little bit because I used it all on my outlap, and luckily the dirty air is doing a lot of work here, helping me keep the Red Bull behind. And let me tell you, he's hungry right now. And I get my second warning of the day. That is not going to be good because another warning means a 3-second penalty. Can I keep it clean for the 11 laps that is left in this race? You just wait and see. And coming towards the end of lap 18, there's only 7 laps to go, and our hards are slowly starting to die off. But so far, we've managed to fend off any of the attackers from behind. Can I hold on to this P7 with only 5 laps to go? But on lap 20, unfortunately, I hit the inside wall, and unfortunately, that pushes us off track, and that is going to be a 3-second penalty. And right here, a virtual safety car comes out on track. That is very strange. And as we go racing again, I kind of get caught napping here. This is as close as the Red Bull has ever been to our car, and we're gonna move back onto the racing line at the last second. A little contact. I'm gonna try to leave some room on the exit, and we're still rubbing each other, and somehow we get a better exit, and we manage to stay ahead. However, the McLaren is out of our DRS window, and it is crucial that we get back within that 1 second if we want to be able to defend on the final lap against all the people that are behind. And I'm draining a lot of my battery here. The rear wants to step out, but I have to use all of this battery, push as hard as I can to get back within that 1 second window. And on lap 22, we've managed to do it, and the Red Bull behind still cannot overtake. As long as you can keep a 3/10 gap to the car behind, there's no realistic overtaking opportunities for the car behind. But the thing is, with only 2 laps to go, I'm sitting on only 20% battery. That is way too low, and I had to use a lot to get back within the 1 second window. But at this point of the race, this is where you should be saving for the last lap shootout. But at the end of lap 23, we are so close to the McLaren behind. I had to go a little defensive so the Red Bull wouldn't try anything. And I'm actually really close here, close enough to go for a move on the McLaren front, and he's flashing. Not sure if he's saving or he's actually out of ERS, but nonetheless, we're gonna go for the move on track. That is going to be P6. And on the same lap, one of the leaders in front actually crashes out. But now I'm between a rock and a hard place. I have to use a lot of ERS on the straights to keep a sizable gap to the cars behind. But the final lap is coming up, and the gears are turning in my head. I'm wondering if there's a way to keep all of them behind, because starting the last lap, I'm down to 20%. Is there anything I can do to hold on to my position? Remember that we started in P12, and we're up to P5 right now on track. That is incredible in itself. Now, we managed to save some battery in the first sector, but after that, it's flat out from here, and we get a massive moment. The rear slides out. The tires are all but dead at this point, but I still got about half of my battery left, and I'm thinking I need to set up a good exit here, maybe bunch up the pack behind, and that's what I do. Purposely letting the McLaren behind get close so that he can get a full dose of dirty air and then drain all of my battery on this final back straight. The gap is currently 3/10, and I'm looking back all the time to see if he's close enough. He's well within 2/10 now. Coming up towards the last corner. The McLaren's gaining, but he's not gaining fast enough. And into the last corner, covering up the inside just a little bit. And up to the line, burn everything we have left. Even though they have DRS, it's not long enough of a straight for it to be any significant advantage. And that is going to be P10, unfortunately, after 3-second penalties. I'm really proud of how I executed that race, actually. Being able to finish P5 on track. The strategy was all but perfect, allowing us to gain 7 positions compared to where we started. And if I had not gotten that extra warning there, what could have been? What could have been?
A little disappointed by the results. Still, we brought home 1 big point. Though, if we did not have that 3-second penalty, we could be looking at loads more points right now. Still, we celebrate the positives and we work on improving on the negatives. Because next week, we will be racing at Spa-Francorchamps, which is one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. Make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any of my progress on my PSGL journey. This is Formula Kai signing off. I'll be seeing you very soon. Bye-bye.